Okay, so we've been asked a question about twisting, leg power, how we develop our power in our legs and the way we turn and twist. So what we're just going to talk about quickly is, some people think what we're doing is always clashing and controlling power with our structural power, which is correct. And some people think that you need to always, as well, go around people. We do go around people, and we do that in a delinked fashion sometimes, but you have to be very careful about where you're going and also how much you're controlling or not controlling. Because if I just walk around somebody and try to move around someone coming forward, and I move here, I'm walking into his power shot, he can just strike straight away and hit me. So I don't really want to move here freely, because he's free as well. So the idea of making contact is I make contact, he pushes into me, and then I can delink him and take my balance and put him into the same position, but I'm safely controlled the contact. If I don't control the contact, then I'm going to be in a situation of moving here, and he can just strike me. Okay? That's what I don't want to do. So we want to control contact, get into structural control, load my pressure, push, 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 and I'm going to twist. When I twist my hips are going to rotate him out just a little bit, and that will give me the angle I want to attack. Right? If he pushes towards me now, he centers of balance, he centers out. So it's easy for me to control him from here and push him from here. So in terms of twisting and turning, I don't really want to turn off my axis. A lot of people turn around the center. Right? I want to turn on my center. Right? I turn on the center, and I turn on the ball of my feet. Some people turn on their heels. No, we don't turn on our heels, because turn on your heels means you're not using all your joints. And turn on your heels means that your balance is off your center, right? You want to be able to transfer your weight. So think about walking. If you're walking, you're going to roll your feet and you're going to push off the balls of your feet. If you're sprinting, you're going to push off the balls of your feet. So you're going to have that athletic power to push and drive from the balls of your feet. You want to be able to move from the balls of your feet. Okay? Moving from your heels is very slow and lacks power. Yes, of course, with some weapon systems, you can move and pivot on the balls of your feet because you're going to stab, right? So you don't need that much power to walk into a blade. And the time and the distance is different. With empty hands, you've always got to be able to deal with clash, right? I challenge anybody to get a wrestler to clash at them and see if they can control it that easily. It's not that easy, right? You have to be able to control the clash, and because we're striking on, we have to be able to delink very quick. So I link my joints, he pushes, I delink and float his balance, and then I can strike from that position, right? So the twisting is internalized again. So in the second form, we turn on the axis of our body, and your twisting is you're sinking and twisting the joints down into the body. So you're wrapping the tendons around the joints, and then you're unloading, and then you're sinking and turning. So your second form twisting, you're doing a 180 twist. In reality, you only twist small angles at a time, but you've got that power in your hips and power in your tendons to control the twist, control the movement. So everything comes from your hips into the ground, and back from the ground into your hips. So you've got that spiral force, and then through your spine, internal twisting through your spine. We don't want to twist from the shoulder area, external rotation of the shoulders. We want to turn internally from the spine. Okay, that way if he pushes my shoulder, I can delink the shoulder and still be here. If he pushes my shoulder and I try to turn my body away, I've actually put myself in an unbalanced position. And I'm in his power shot position. I don't want to be there. If he pushes my shoulder, I want to delink my shoulder, and I want to stay in position so I can go forward again. Okay, so we call this small evasion sim. You sim the body, you shake off the power. So he pushes me, I'll shake that off. So it comes from my whole body, and then I can strike from that position. Right, so someone pushes here, I delink, I can strike. He pushes towards me, I'm now in route, and he centers out. Okay? In terms of turning and twisting from the legs, of course, when I load one of my legs up, that gives me the ability to push off the ground from that leg. So you can load different legs. So your weight in the form is 50-50. When you apply it, it changes all the time. It changes depending on the pressure or depends on the lack of pressure. If I push towards him, I thought he has a lack of pressure, and I load more weight forward, and I'll sink press rise to root him. Okay? If I feel that he's strong, I let him push me, and I'll try to float his balance and take his balance off. And that's where I have to twist into my legs again. Right? So it's always dynamic. The balance is always dynamic. The turning is always dynamic. You always need to have control in close range. If we're not in close range, I can be out here and have no control of it. That's fine, because I'm looking for a way in. I'm looking for a position. Right? If he's very slow, I can angle to the side. I kind of come in from the side. Okay? But if he's very fast, he's got good mobility. He's following me. That's going to be very hard to do. Right? So outside of range, you have mobility. Right? Once you're in range, you want to use your structural power. And your structural power doesn't mean you're overpowering him. It means I'm just holding my own place. And when he pushes me, then I just delink it. So I didn't hold it very long. I just hold it enough, and I turn him out, and I load my leg, and I strike. Okay? So the striking The striking is about timing him, timing his fall, so when he's doing his floats of balance here, that's my maximal strike, because he's got no power control here, right? So timing my strike when he's in a weak position, that's my strike. If I try to strike him when he's ready, if I strike him here, he's going to be ready to block. Even if I hit him from here, he's ready to take the punch. If I just hit him, he's ready to take the punch, go forward, push forward, he can take the punch, right? But if he's off balance here, and then I strike here, that's the one that's going to hurt. So I need to be able to hold his balance and release and turn. Right? Release and turn. It's not always force on force. Even when we do use force on force, it's a correct use of structural force. So he pushes towards me, I'll push with my structural force, right? But if he's strong, I push, he pushes back, and I have to delink and then float his balance. And that's what I want to hit. Okay, so the turning and the twisting is through all the joints, wrapping your knees, your hips, your ankles, and that's what you see in your circular form turning. That's training that turning force. And that's why we don't want to turn around the centre, we want to turn in the centre, to control the centre.